Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking to actor, producer, entrepreneur, and wrestling legend Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock. We'll be talking about a bunch of things, including his new skincare line, Papouille, which is now available exclusively at Target. Let's go.
That's my kind. I don't want no bad times. I don't want to have bad.
How long were you touring for?
I toured from... We started when we were 15.
Right.
We left home when we were 17. And then we were just we were traveling, touring, trying to make it work. And then by 19, I was on the road.
Full time.
And then I retired when I was 35.
What a run, man.
So I didn't retire. Like, we still make records every 5 years.
Right.
We'll go do like a world tour or something.
Right.
But not like 10 months a year.
That was a grind.
It's a grind.
Right? It's like the wrestling schedule.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. There's no off season.
Yeah.
You're just going.
Yeah.
And we probably wrestled in the same venues that you guys played too, I'm sure.
Same
Cities,
venues, same arenas.
venues.
I imagine it's the same thing. You're killing time all day before the show.
Yeah.
Doing press, going to some radio station or
Promoting the whole
promoting
thing.
the thing. And then that hour and a half a night that's what you do it for.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
That's the magic.
That's it.
That's a connection.
Yeah.
And then did you find that, did you run 2 shows in the same town often, or 3 shows, or after the show you were on to the next town?
Most of the time you're out.
Us too.
You're packing up. We were doing 5 or 6 shows a week.
Wow.
And
5 or 6 cities then.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we had like a 6-day, 1 day off. That was like our rule because we were just so.
Have to.
Yeah, you spend money when you're sitting, when you're paying for the whole tour and you have trucks and you have all that stuff.
Right.
And we were always kind of like impoverished in the way that I think we were afraid not to work.
Yes.
So you just have to get after it.
Because you think it's going to go away.
Yeah. So you
think
say
you're gonna
yes
lose it.
to everything.
Yes, man.
Do everything you can,
Yes.
which is good in some ways.
Right.
But in other ways, you could run yourself. I think we ran ourselves into the ground a little bit. I mean, we had multiple years where we did 330 shows a year
No shit.
for like 5 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we would do back then 230, 240 a year, which is a lot, right?
For what you're doing.
Right. But you got, I mean, still, it's performance. Our matches would last maybe, it all depends, anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes.
But you're getting surprise injuries.
Right. We're trying not to get injuries. You
Right.
know what I mean? Doing our best. But with same thing like you guys, we would pack up after the show and then just go to the next town. But over 300, that's hardcore.
Many years of that.
Wow.
We shouldn't have done that. I mean, we overtoured markets. We did all that, but we were so
Right.
afraid.
That it's all going to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the hunger and drive part of it.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, dude, is my old man was a pro wrestler like back in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's almost like, remember the wrestler, Mickey Rourke,
Yes.
that movie?
Yes.
Like that, had it not been for the grace of God that I was able to take care of my mom and dad, like that, we would have ended up like that.
There's not a lot of glory back then.
No, but my point was those guys were doing over 300 dates a year,
Yeah.
like you guys, and running into the ground.
Yeah.
And it was fucking nuts back then.
When you come from nothing,
Yes.
it's like my dad, I had a very complicated relationship with my dad. He left when I was young, but he was a good guy. I always liked him.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of stuff he didn't know how to work out. Mm-hmm. Alcoholic, rageaholic, old school, tough guy.
My dad too, man.
And it was a different generation. They didn't have the access to tools that we have. Like now you can go on an app and get a therapist.
Like emotional tools.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
the toolbox has grown now where we can figure it out pretty quickly.
Yes.
And we're also in a generation of guys, I think, that talk more how
About
we
their
feel.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or what
Which
we're
is so
feeling or
important.
what we're going through.
So like my dad, your dad wasn't about that, right? Like I had a really complicated relationship with my old man too as well. Alcoholic, same thing. And I, like you, like my dad a lot. And I really started to understand, especially once he passed away.
Yeah.
He passed away in 2020 suddenly. So I never had a chance to say goodbye.
Me too.
You too. Same thing.
2019, gone.
Wow.
And we
Me
had
too.
a really nice 10 years together.
You did.
Like we had a nice relationship. He hadn't worked out everything, but he had evolved enough to see that we had worked some stuff out.
Yes.
And we bonded in a way that was really nice. And so we had made our amends and our peace. So it was really, we were in a good place. But so I was really sad when he passed away.
Because your friend passed away then.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Can I ask you what he passed away from?
Alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. So did he ever get clean?
No,
he never did.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying is that generation, they just worked until they died.
That's it.
He worked
till the
in
wheel
a
fall
shipyard.
off,
Never wanted anything from me.
Yes.
I literally could only buy him a couple things.
Yes.
And that was it. Like he couldn't give I bought him an old car.
Yeah.
He's like, he always loved 65 Impalas. I bought him an old car. Couldn't give that back. I was like, you can't give this back.
He wanted to though.
Yeah. Bought him a truck. Couldn't give that back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let me pay his house off. Wouldn't let me do anything like that.
That's that generational pride.
Generation, yeah.
As our dads had, man.
So when they're working in a shipyard, you're like, I'm touring. This isn't a real job. So I'm going to work myself into the ground.
Exactly. Yes. That's that hunger part, man.
Yeah.
When curious about your parents, were they divorced?
Yeah.
When they divorced and you started to make it.
Yeah.
And started to make money, was he more like, hey, just take care of your mom. I'm good. Take care of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't in my life for the first part. So my career, if I put it in chapters, the first chapter was music success.
Yeah.
Make the hit records, platinum records, do the thing, go on that ride for a decade or so. And then he didn't show back. We didn't reconnect until towards the end of that. So he wasn't there for the ride.
Right.
But he followed us.
He did quietly.
Yeah.
And he was never hitting you up? Like,
no. Yeah, like old school.
Yeah.
Really proud of us.
Yes.
And we always took care of our mom from day one. The minute I got my first check, first thing I did was put a down payment on a house for her. And man, that was it.
That's cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And he was always
That's
really
what I did too.
He was proud of that.
Yes.
But he never wanted anything.
Wow.
He was a special guy.
So he didn't even have to tell you guys, hey, take care of your mom. Like,
no, yeah.
Yeah.
That was always the dream.
You guys were always going to do it.
You know how it is when you're like young. You're like, one day I'm going to buy you a house, Mom.
Oh, man. Like, I don't know about you guys, but we never lived. It was always apartments and trailer parks.
Yeah.
Because at that time, pro wrestling wasn't as global, you know, and these guys were just grinding every night. So my dream was to buy them their first house. And man, that was a good feeling, right?
The best feeling.
Yeah.
I have a theory about you, though.
Yeah. Tell me.
So I follow you. I'm a fan.
Thank you,
so
brother.
I follow the stuff you do, everything you do. And one of the things I see you do that makes me really happy is when you just surprise people, you'll give them stuff. And I always know when I see another guy who came from nothing, because we want to play Santa Claus.
Yeah,
we
man.
want to show up for all the kids.
Yes.
You know, you watch those movies when you're a kid where the kid gets to go to Toys R Us and buy like the rich dad or adopt some or something.
Yeah.
And they get to get whatever they want. Like that's the feeling as a kid when you don't have anything, you dream of like being able to buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you realize like giving to other people is actually you get the most joy out of that.
That's it.
And I see you surprise a guy and I saw you gave a guy a truck. I was like, that's badass.
Yeah.
That's what life's all about.
That's it.
And I always know when another guy came from nothing because that's the feeling that we want to have when we get something.
Yeah.
It's not even actually about us.
No. It's about letting them experience what our dreams were when we didn't have shit.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool. Thank you for,
That's awesome.
for that. You do the same thing then, right? You just,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Any chance I get.
People always ask, hey, what's your top 5 movies? And one of my top 5 movies is Willy Wonka, The Chocolate Factory, right? There's a gazillion reasons why that movie is amazing. The original with Gene Wilder. But that moment at the end where he tells Charlie, you did it. You got it all. And Charlie's like, wait, what? Even Grandpa Joe? He's like, Grandpa Joe too. Everybody moves in. Like you got the entire chocolate factory. Like I love shit like that. So
Me too.
In those moments, right? It's like surprising somebody with a car, a truck, or this or that, whatever it is. It's all Willy Wonka moment, man.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, it's the joy of knowing what it's like to not have something.
That's right.
It's the joy of actually having it.
Yes.
Even when I bought my first car, or my first house,
Yeah.
it's surreal when you haven't had that before. We were always moving around.
Yes.
It was just always a thing. The house thing was always tough. Get evicted, or you have to move in with people from church, or you have
Us
to
too, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
yes.
even to this day, when I walk in my bathroom and I like feel the wood floor or the marble shower or it's a nice ass house, you never get tired of it ever.
No.
There's never a day I take it for granted.
Right. Always grateful, man. So you're always having those moments.
Yeah.
Like, is this my fucking life?
This is my life. And then you want someone to experience any piece of that you can share with them.
Yes.
You know, it's hard. It'd be impossible to share all of it with everyone. But like I always tell my kids, if we have something, we give something.
That's right, man.
Whatever it is.
Yes.
Even if it's just the tip at the restaurant or anything, anytime you notice an opportunity to give something, it feels good to give.
Yes.
It's great. I see you do that and I'm just like, man, that guy, what a hero.
I love doing that kind of stuff, man, because you're right. I mean, I always feel like you and I are really lucky and blessed boys, man. We work our asses off.
Yeah.
But also just to be able to do the stuff we love to do. And, you know, you get up in the morning and that thing, you hope you're able to do something where you get up and you run to it in the morning.
Yep.
With you guys, music, with me, stuff I do, you just fucking run to it. So we get lucky and blessed. And I tell our girls too, I got one 22-year-old and then we have two little ones, all girls. And the little ones, always telling them like, same thing, you give, but always, I've gotten to a great place now with them where they love surprising too as well. And I got into a good place where tips are important.
Yeah.
So I'll do the math and like, hey, how much should we leave? And they'll know, like, go big, right?
Go big.
It's great.
Yes.
And then it's gotten to a point where they're like, can I give them the money? I say, yeah. You go up and you give them money. Say, thank you for your time and service. We appreciate it very much. And it's just the best, man. I got
great.
a 7-year-old, she's 8 now, and a 5-year-old. And they go up, have that moment, give the money. It's really cool.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, man.
How do you
Before we start, I got a little thing. Can I break out some tequila for you and I?
Yes, please.
Okay.
In the ice, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm a tequila guy.
There we go.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, man. A little bit more. You know Glenn Campbell? You know that singer Glenn Campbell?
Yeah.
He said, I've never been drunk. I've just been
You
overserved.
can put it up here if you want.
Oh, yeah.
On the amp.
Thank you, brother. Well, cheers, brother.
Cheers.
It's good to see you. Good
You
to sit
too.
down with you.
Thanks for coming.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's my birthday shot.
All right.
I also love this.
Oh, good, man. Yeah.
It reminds me of grape soda when I was a kid.
All right. So funny story behind that, you know, so in today's market, there's a ton of flavors out there with all the energy drinks and like, you know, cotton candy, fruity pebble and all this shit. I was telling our group, I said, hey, we need a flavor that reminds me of when I was a kid.
Gas
Grape.
station.
Yeah.
Go to the gas
Welch's,
station.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a Debbie cake and a grape soda.
Mm-hmm.
This is great.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's a good one. This añejo is super clean, by the way.
Is that the only alcohol you drink, tequila?
It's the one I like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Love tequila. Always a big fan.
Me too.
Yeah. Love it. Love the tequila.
It's the only one that I can drink through the night. I can have like 3 drinks over 3 hours.
Yes.
Sip it. Still gets me.
Yeah.
Takes me back a little, but I can't get too crazy.
That's right.
Now I'm 45.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
I got teenagers.
Yeah. Boys, girls, what do you have?
I have my son's 14, my daughter's 16.
Oh, nice.
So they're great.
Awesome.
But you know, you gotta contain
You gotta contain, yeah.
the animal.
Yes. Yes. Just
Whiskey,
feed it just
no
a little
good.
bit.
Whiskey, no
dude.
good. Vodka, no good. Tequila, I drink tequila. That's my drink.
You could sip it. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
Exactly. Question. You were going to say something. I have a question for you too, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
One more thing with your dad, but I'm just so curious about that relationship, man. He was proud of your success.
Absolutely.
Did it take him a long time to say, hey, man, I just want you to know I wasn't there in the beginning, but I want you to know I love you. I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, did you get that from him? I eventually got that from my old man.
Yeah.
But it took a long time. And, you know, as like sons, it's the stuff that we wait for, you know?
It's all you want.
Yes.
We kind of had that conversation more or less. He said, sorry, I wasn't there, but look at what you've done. And
So
I'm
like
proud of you.
You turned out okay.
Yeah, you turned out okay. And, somewhere in that 10 or 11 years, we had that conversation a few times. And so we got all the way there. I found myself always looking around at other guys because I didn't have a model. He was kind of in and out. He struggled to stay.
Yeah.
But he was always pretty honest. There's a ton of things in me that I got from my dad. Honesty, pull over and help someone change a tire. Like that was him.
Yeah.
If you can help someone, help them.
Yes. Hard work.
Like worked his ass off. Always had 2 or 3 jobs.
Callous kind of guy.
Yeah. Tough. But I didn't realize I was angry at him for most of my life until I had kids. That's when I realized, oh shit, this is what that feels like.
Yes.
I probably would have ran too.
Yeah.
4 kids, you know.
Yeah.
God bless my mom.
Yeah.
But marriage is tough. You're trying to. I think back then too, they didn't have the tools and the resources to figure out like, okay, what is this partnership? How do we normalize the challenges of marriage and talk about it and work it out?
Oh, brother, that conversation was not happening, right? With our dads, that was not.
They didn't talk about much.
It would have been nice.
Yeah,
man.
And he was tough. He was tough on me. He was when he was around, we were young. He was just a tough guy. But that was his way of loving you. He's trying to get you ready for the world.
And that was, I feel like with my old man too. Like once I became a dad and a father, I realized, got it. Then once I got a little older, you realize, man, he had real limited capacity for love. And what really helped me was the moment I understood, all right, my old man is loving me with all he's got.
Everything he's got.
Everything he's got. And even if it's just this fucking much, it's everything he's got. Yeah. And I need to appreciate that.
And then go back a generation before him.
Oh,
my granddad was a World War II vet.
Wow.
You come back with trauma that you don't even know how to work out back then.
That's right.
And so my dad inherited some of that. Mm-hmm. And you think about so when I think about, I'm obsessed with history. I love watching and learning about what men went through to build the world.
Yes.
And World War II is interesting because when you think about what those men sacrificed and then what their families gave for generations, we're the first generation of people who have probably broken the chains and the cycle of all the trauma and worked some shit out. We still have our work to do.
Yes.
But we're more in touch with, like, if there's a problem we have to work out, we can talk about it.
Yes.
You know,
it's like it's like mental health stuff.
Yeah.
Right? There was no mental health back then.
No. That wasn't even a word we used.
Oh man, our dads, not at all. That and the generation before that, no, not at all.
Could you imagine your dad saying, "I'm taking a mental health day"?
No, I could not. By the way,
hey family, I'm taking a mental health day.
I need to take a day for me. Yeah, this is it. No.
But they should have.
They should have. Yes, of course.
God bless these guys, man. That's why I'm not mad at them. I'm like, dude, you were limited resources.
Yes.
Limited income.
Yes.
You're raising 4 kids. You're trying to figure it all out.
Yes.
Trying to stay married.
Yes. 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 That's that perspective, man, that I learned. I'm glad you learned it too, man. And I try to, when I talk with my buddies and we talk about the complicated relationships that we have with our dads, especially in that generation, I'm always telling them, man, your dad loved you to his full capacity.
Yeah.
And I love that you reconciled with your old man and you guys were able to have that beautiful 8-10 year run, whatever it was, before he passed away suddenly. It was so challenging with me because I went into my dad, like your dad, blue collar. He was kicked out of the house at 13. I'll tell you this crazy story. His dad died when he was 13.
That's tough.
Yes. And the mom, my grandmother, had another boyfriend a couple of months later. That boyfriend was a drunk. And on Christmas, it was either Christmas or Thanksgiving, I think it was Christmas, the new boyfriend took the turkey out of the oven and pissed on it. And then my dad got pissed. They got into a fight. And my dad went outside and had it was a stick or a toy gun and drew a line in the dirt and said, if you cross that, I'm sorry, yeah. He drew a line in the dirt and then took a shovel and said, if you cross that, I'm going to kill you. And the drunk who pissed on the turkey crossed the line. My dad laid him out
With the shovel?
with the shovel, cold as a block of ice. And this was in Amherst, Nova Scotia, up in Canada.
Oh, wow.
And cops came. He was still knocked out. Cops told my grandmother, two things are going to happen when he regains consciousness. He's either going to kill your son or your son's going to kill him. So one of these guys got to go. They can't live in the same house. They were just, to the cops, they were like, we're just being real with you. That's what's going to happen. My grandmother at that time looked at my dad, who was 13, and said, you're out. Kicked him out, and that was it. So that's his reference. So right there, man, his life, that's it. Like that informed his life, his capacity to love.
That was love in his...
That was love.
That was his example.
That was his example. Yeah. And so that's the man who raised me. Shovel to the fucking guy's head who's doing wrong.
Now I got to leave.
Now I got to leave, but I'll always protect my family. I'm going to work hard. But that's my capacity for love. So that was the man who raised me. And then I wish, so not only that, but he was also a pro wrestler. So there was that dynamic of young buck, son getting in the business. How's he going to do? You know what I mean? Like
he's probably worried about you too.
Oh, because he told me when I told him, like, hey, I think I want to do this. I think I've got some talent. I don't know. Maybe I'll suck, but I feel like I have a passion for this. And he was so adamantly against me getting into pro wrestling. He's like, you don't know if you have anything to offer. I don't want you to live like this. I live in an apartment that I can't even afford in Tampa, Florida for $500 a month. I don't want this for you. So we did this.
I mean, that's how you know he loved you, though.
Right. But at that time, if you think about it, I didn't have the emotional tools to realize, like, man, that's love, Dad. Thank you. I love you. I still got to make my path.
Yep.
I didn't have that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is my life. Like, then we just did that for a long time. Then I wish I had what you had with your dad and you reconciled. So we got into this huge fight, Christmas 2019. It was awful. One of the biggest fights we ever got into about some stupid shit. And then about a month later, he passed away. And we weren't talking.
I'm sorry.
Me too. Thank you though, man. But I wish, you know what I mean?
Man, I got to tell you though, I guarantee you that you guys somehow, some way, I know I'm a more spiritual person now.
Yes.
It's weird. It's like your father always goes before you into the world, into the unknown, and even in death,
everything.
He went somewhere before me.
Yes.
And I was always terrified of death.
Yeah.
I was always anxious and something happened when he passed away. Like it was like he was going first. And I feel like we're closer than we ever were.
Yes, man.
When he was here.
Yes, me too.
That's powerful.
What is that? What do you think that is? I felt that way too. I was like, man, when my dad passed away, I feel like all the dumb shit that we were arguing about, like,
it doesn't even matter.
Doesn't matter.
And even that we didn't get to have a final conversation. You know, I have a similar. It's not the same. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
My dad called me. And I didn't answer. I would blow him off sometimes because sometimes he would call me and maybe he would be drinking but he was always calling me to tell me he loved me. And it wasn't a bad thing.
Yes.
But he was a character, you know, he would, I'll never forget this. My wife's father is Lionel Richie, right? So legendary Lionel, and we're very close.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
You're married to
Nicole. Right. So Lionel is the best.
Yes. Man, I got a story about him, but go ahead.
So I now want to hear it. We could probably talk for 3 hours. So the first time my dad ever met Lionel, he was a huge fan of Lionel.
Yeah.
And I said to Lionel, I was like, hey, just so you know, my dad is he's from Southeast DC. He's old school and he's different from everybody out here. And Lionel was like, Joel, you don't even have to tell me. I already know where you're from. And I'm not from here either.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I'm from Alabama. So he's like, don't even worry. You don't have to explain. I want to meet your dad. So he comes out for Thanksgiving. He's got a black eye. He got into a bar fight.
Wait, your old man?
Yes. Like the night before he got on the plane, he flies out for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And he comes to Thanksgiving. He's a black guy. He's got some Ray-Bans on. And I was like, Dad, you can take your glasses off. He goes, no, I can't. And I was like, what's up? And he like pulls it down. He's got a black eye. Lionel is cool as shit.
Yeah.
And he always told me, he was like, you're just what you said. He said, your dad loves you. I can just see it. I can feel it. As a dad, I know it. He's loving you how he can. And that is just how it is. And
wow.
Right before he passed away, it was a few days. It was a day or two. He called me and I was at my kid's game. I was you're working, you're watching your kid play and you're like, I'll call him back. I was dealing with some, now, the next chapter of my career is all these businesses we're building and it's great. It's going well.
Great.
Keeps you busy. You're just running through your life.
Yeah.
And nothing's more important sometimes than getting this deal done or getting this done or doing this. And I was there at my kid's game multitasking. I was watching him. I was rolling some emails and doing the thing. And he called me and I didn't take the call. And then like day or two later, he's gone. Man. You'll always regret that.
Yes.
But
yes,
you can't hold on to it. You got to let it go.
Do you remember the last time you talked to him?
I don't remember the last time I talked to him.
Do you have any of his messages? Like, did you?
I saved one of his voicemails.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I still have his I still have his number in my favorites on my.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool,
see it every
man.
time I go.
Yeah.
When you go to your quick call.
Yeah.
I got my wife, my brother, and there's my dad. I leave him there. I can't take him off. Yeah.
What was your dad's name?
Roger. Yeah.
That's cool. My dad's name was Rocky.
Cool.
Let me ask you this. What do you miss about your dad?
He was the easiest person to call and talk to about anything. And
Wow.
he never judged me.
Wow.
He never said easy for you to say.
Yeah.
All the things, when you come from nothing and then you get something and you go back home, everyone's like, oh,
must be nice
out there in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just out here
working hard.
I'm working hard.
Yeah.
And it's just in me to not stop.
Yes.
He never did that. There was no judgment.
Great.
If I said I'm having a hard time because of this, he'd just go, yeah, I understand. And he would always say little things like, it's just a dress rehearsal.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He'd always say that.
But he wasn't like an entertainment guy, right?
No, he goes, it's just a dress rehearsal. I'd be like talking about some shit that doesn't even matter now. You're like, this deal, I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. And we'd talk about stuff and I would talk about work and he would let me.
Yes.
Couldn't relate to it.
Wow, man.
He goes, I don't know, man. That sounds stressful, but yeah, you'll be all right.
Cool?
Or he'd say, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Just little things like that. I came to appreciate
the ease of it.
The ease of it, and that he really did. He was proud of me, and he believed in me.
That's so cool, man.
And,
yeah. My dad was the same way. I feel like he was super proud, but he expressed it differently. Like he would, look, it would have been awesome to have a conversation like that, like you have with your dad, where I just talked to him about shit, and he's like, hey, it's going to be okay. You're cool. Dress rehearsal, whatever. He would listen and then figure, this is some of the shit that I miss actually about my dad. He would listen and then kind of bring it back around to himself. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, absolutely. No, I totally understand. Hey, you know that shirt you had on TV? Can I get a couple of those shirts? Is that by you do that? Or can you hook me up with the, like, it was always that. You're kind
like, sure, Dad.
Yeah. It was always that. Like, you know how I'm sure your dad was the same. Like my old man was just like always hustling, man, for a buck. Yeah. Always hustling. So I would always get the hustle too. Like we would always, we'd be at events. Dude, I'll never forget this. We were at, this is such a fucking Hollywood story. We were at.
I love Hollywood stories.
Dude, we were at the Chinese theater where you put your hands in the cement. I had that honor.
Amazing.
Everyone comes out, put their hands in the cement. Had my daughter there at that time. My wife, family, everybody. Brought my old man out, him and my mom. The event's done. Everyone's just chilling in the back, having some drinks. Everyone's talking. Hey, congratulations. My dad comes up and he's like, hey, yeah, congratulations. And I'm expecting him to say, I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I mean, this is crazy, right? It was, two wrestlers and my son, this Hollywood dude. He goes, can I talk to your son? I said, yeah. And anytime, I'm used to that. I was like, oh, fuck, here it comes. He's like, you know the truck you got me, it's a little hard for me to fit into nowadays with my hip. Because he got those old wrestler injuries, my hip, and I got to get in. I saw this amazing Escalade. It's nice and wide. I'm thinking, here's what I think. And, so now here comes a hustle. Instead of him saying, could you pick this up for me? Right? He's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'll give you back the one you gave me. Then I know a guy down at the dealer. Give it to him. He's going to give you a great deal. We'll do the exchange and blah, blah, blah. And I'll pay you back. I'll figure out the payments monthly. I was like, Dad, it's all good. There's no payments. It's all it's all good. But it's the hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's his way of, in his mind, like my dad, similar things. It wasn't that they wanted anything from us, but a dad's always going to think they know more than a son. I mean, I look at my son and I probably do the same thing to him.
Right.
And he's more up on a bunch of shit than me.
Right.
He's 14 and he's locked in with a bunch of shit that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he's got good insights. Yeah. I need to listen to him a little bit more.
That's right.
But I think I know everything because I'm the older.
That's right.
Yeah,
you're the Papa Bear.
And he won't listen in some regards, and I'm sure we didn't listen to our dads on a lot of shit.
No, we thought we knew it all, man. Right.
But the grace of all of it is that we realize that we are standing on their shoulders.
That's right.
Regardless.
Yes, man. Yes.
Their imperfections.
Yes.
I think about my dad all the time, and I will say, and I wrote a ton of songs
pissed off of my dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just shredded him.
Yeah.
I was like, that was one of Good Charlotte's things was like, I hate my dad.
Yeah.
He left. The narrative wasn't
on the nose or a bit more subtle.
Both.
Yeah.
Everything went back to that because it was really painful when he left.
How old were you?
He came and went from 13 to 15.
Okay.
But he was really 13 when he bounced.
So you were old enough to know.
Yeah.
Old enough for it to be painful.
And then all the real trouble started with we were always moving and we were, the money trouble started way before that, but I can't even imagine how you could support 4 kids. I feel like I can barely support 2 kids and I do pretty well. So I think 4 kids.
Yeah.
Working 2 or 3 jobs, painting houses on the side, doing this. He was working his ass off and trying to be married. Again, no one gives credit to, doesn't matter. Our wives are amazing. I love my wife. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And we've been together for 18 years.
Yeah.
Keeping that together is work.
Hard, man.
It's just hard. It's just the nature of relationships.
Yes.
So you have to give that credit and space and room to be imperfect and be honest about it. They couldn't back then.
Yeah.
But the grace of all of it is that we are, no matter the imperfections, no matter the mistakes, we're standing on their shoulders. If they didn't exist, we don't exist.
That's right, man. I love that you use the word grace. It's grace, give ourselves that grace. And also it's that gratitude that we have, grace and gratitude. And to remember that we're standing on their shoulders, it's easy, I think, for us who had complicated relationships to be pissed or remain pissed. But I love that you keep going back there. I think that's so important. And that's something I've learned to do, thankfully, because it wasn't always that way. But just keep going back to the grace part. You love me with all your capacity. You had flaws. Things were fucked up. But, like you said when we started talking, dude, more and more, around every corner, I'll say to myself in these little quiet moments, God damn, that's just like my dad.
Just like my dad.
I do that just like my dad, right?
Same exact thing. The thing that I'll say strikes me when I think about you and my idea of you, right? So I have my idea of you and then there's really you.
Yeah.
Right. So how we're perceived is real. It's important. Yeah. And then who we really are is partly that. And then there's our actual real life that no one can know but us and our family. The idea that you got into a huge fight with your dad in 2020 says to me how much you love him. That you would get into a horrible fight. Because when you think about the person you are, that you've built yourself to be in the world, right? And I can only imagine how much work and relentless drive it's taken to start from here and get to here. You didn't start here in this world and get here. You started here.
Yeah.
You went from there to here. A lot of people start here and get here.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They already have, they're born in the opportunity and they build up. And I'm not even mad at that. I hope my kids do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? But to go from there to here is incredible. And it's the story, it's the hero's story, right? The one we want to believe in, that anything's possible.
Yeah.
To build your life up to a place where you have built a global brand that people look to for inspiration. They look to it for all kinds of things, that you could still get into a horrible fight with your father over some shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
means that you're still a human being that wants a relationship with their dad and loves their dad enough to stay in
Oh, man.
at a dinner and get into a fight and it turns into a big thing. I understand how painful that is and how horrible that is. But to me, I hear a story that I love because I go, oh, he didn't just say, fuck off, I'm out.
Yes.
And,
right.
My people will blah, blah. Like there's plenty of people that are just completely isolated themselves from the world and their past. We have to leave the things in our past that damage us. I had to learn how to do that. Like there was plenty of bad things in my past, but then there were some things that I needed to hold on to and heal and repair.
Yes.
And it was my job. It wasn't going to be their job because they didn't have the capacity to do that.
That's right.
But the fact that you, in 2020, that was only 4 years ago.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You are you then.
Yeah.
Successful guy at the top of his game, and you're still getting into a fight with your dad at Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah.
That means I love my dad and I want a relationship with him and I'm trying. No matter if you guys worked it out or not, that's not the point. I actually think that he and you both felt the love and you just didn't get the time to do the, to work out some of the things, but a lot of that gets worked out in the other life.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
That's amazing, bro.
I never looked at it like that.
A lot of people wouldn't even care.
I never looked at, well, it's like you're the same way. It's like, no, that's my old man. And I feel like this thing was fucked up. And why did you do that? I don't understand. And we had it out. He was like, well, but I blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, but then this happened. He's like, yeah, but I only did it because of this. I'm like, yeah, but you see, it fucking affected this thing. And it ultimately, now that I think about it, it got to a good place. He was like, I understand. We still ended with, all right, I love you too, which was good, man. But I never looked at it like that.
But the fact that you both were there doing it says it all to me. Because a lot of people, and you've seen it too, I'm sure, they build these halls of mirrors.
Yes. And
they don't want to let anyone in for real.
Yes.
And then they're not a human being anymore. They're just, you can't even really talk about anything because they don't want to feel anything.
Right.
And I understand it. But I think sometimes with success, we don't want to feel real life anymore. We almost were escaping the pain of life. And we thought success was the answer. Success is just our idea of success, whatever that is. All the byproducts of it, we could line the walls with it, but it doesn't do anything.
That's right.
I think success is more of
ultimately. Ultimately, it doesn't. Right.
Yeah.
We think it does.
Doesn't mean it's not nice, but that's not the point of the success. The success is, can I climb that mountain? I think I want to. I think I can. And then we start trying and we do it. All the byproducts of that success are the fruits we get to enjoy sometimes. But when the fruits become the focus and not the mountain.
Man, yes. Dude, I always say that. I love that you're saying this. So let me just back up for a second because this is a big thing I think about success. And a lot of times when you run into people, whether they're older people, our age, younger, even sometimes teenagers, when we talk to them, try your best not to focus on the shiny thing. The shiny thing will come, right? The money will come, the watch, the this, that, whatever it is in your head, like, oh, I want to buy that thing. It's important. That'll come. But focus on being really good at something.
Yeah.
And focus on putting in the work and making that decision. I'm going to put in the fucking work. I'm going to grind. I'm going to keep my blinders on. But I love that you use the analogy about a mountain because I say that all the time. And I'm always constantly reminding myself of the importance of this idea that I'm always in my head, even as we're climbing the mountain, like I see it up there, man, that's that peak, the summit, let's go for it. And you bring everybody with you and everyone works hard. And then the moment I feel like it's starting to get close, I always say, mountain changed.
Yeah.
There it is up there. Now we got to keep going up there. Like you almost like you never arrive. And I always tell younger people, the best part about success is the ethic behind it, the work ethic behind it. Like that's the stuff that will never go away. It's not the shiny shit that you could buy. It's nice.
Yeah.
I love it and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not, you realize once you get a little older, like the shit that really matters is the stuff that's just in front of you at that time, like kids and family and you know what I mean? And your desire or your willingness to work. Like, yeah, let's put in the work. Let's put some calluses here, you know?
How do you manage the big life, the work life, right? In my opinion, we can never stop trying.
That's right.
We just have to keep going.
That's right.
Let's see how fast we can fly this thing. Let's see how high we can climb.
Yes.
And I see you doing that. I love all the stuff you do. You're as an entrepreneur.
Thank you,
I just
brother.
think you're running the game.
Thank you,
I really love.
Me too.
I love how you move. And also to have limits, I think, set on where you started. Everybody's going to put a limit on that. Then you beat those limits.
Yeah.
You go from wrestling to movies. Then they're going to put a limit on that.
Right.
What kind of movies can you do?
Right.
Then you're going to beat those limits.
Right.
Then you move into entrepreneurial endeavors.
Yes.
They're going to limit that.
Yes.
You can only do this. You can only do that. You're going to beat all those. So that's the big life. It just keeps growing if you keep. How do you manage that life with the small life? Fatherhood, family. And how do you keep that calm and still and small while managing the hurricane of the big life?
For sure. That's a great question. I try to, and I'm curious to know how you feel about this. I try to keep the small life the closest thing to me.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where I was running and gunning where I was on the road 230 dates out of the year, whether it's wrestling or even when I transitioned into movies, I had this idea that, well, let me go get established. Let me get in that town for a month. Then family can come out. And then you could be out for a month. Family goes back home. And then I'll come back home. But I had this clear separation. I don't know where that came from.
I think protection.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Or thinking, no, this is what I need. But you realize, oh, no, well, the thing that I really need is I need my anchor.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that I love. Keep that close. Because the stuff, the small stuff, right, our kids, babies, family, relationships, that's the shit that really matters. That the small life allows big life to really happen.
Yeah.
I feel like. And I feel like the small life allows you and I to, I always say, I feel like we get lucky, we get to fly the spaceship
Yep.
around the universe and look cool and shit. And, but there's a lot of other people who you don't see who are building this thing and help you build it. And when it comes back down, to ground zero, then they all come in there and they get behind the, they get inside the rocket and they help everything that they need to do. So I try and do that with small life. I keep small life super close now.
Yeah.
So when I go on the road, if we're shooting different location, brother, we're all going.
Yeah.
The dog.
It's the only way it works.
Everybody.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You too?
You protect them from the things that I feel I need to protect them from, but they have to share in all of it so that they feel ownership of it and they don't feel isolated from me.
That's right.
Like I don't want them to feel on the outside. I don't want them to feel, I want them to feel like they're on the inside, even down to making decisions.
Yes.
It's like, hey, should we go do this?
That's right.
And then it's an adventure for everyone.
That's right.
So I think I
love that.
It's including them so they feel like.
Because you could easily be the one to make all the calls, make the decision, or pass it off to somebody else. They'll do it. You guys don't have to worry about it. But I love that you include them too as well.
Yeah.
As you move forward, what's the thing for you that allows you to, like, if you look at that wall and the wall is an opportunity and it looks like that wall, it looks like there's no cracks in it, but you and I could see one little crack there and we're going to go up to that crack and we're going to rip that fucking thing open. We're going to pull our nails off just trying to make that crack bigger and bigger, 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 bigger. So now we could step through that thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is the thing for you that keeps that mindset for you? Like what? Because you and I talked about a lot of people who we know who became successful, wanted to separate themselves, found comfort in the success, didn't want to fuck with real life. I don't like real life. So I like the success and keeping it here. What's allowed you to maintain that? Hunger, never arrive. By the way, when I got cut from the CFL, the Canadian Football League, I had $7 in my pocket. I had like a 5, a 1, and some change.
Yeah.
And I always like to say, at least I rounded up. I was optimistic. Like, hey, I got $7. And we were evicted, like you guys. We were evicted when I was 14.
Same age.
It's the same, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, that shit,
That
like,
fucks you up.
It fucks you up. And in my mind, and I know it's crazy chat here, but like there's times when I think, oh, I'm right around the corner from getting evicted, man.
Same.
Like I can't stop.
It's crazy.
Right?
My wife is like, what are you talking about? Like, we're good. Chill.
Mine too, man. It's funny. Lauren's the same way, I'm sure, as Nicole.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
What
Thank
helps
God
you,
for wives, man.
dude?
Good wives.
Yes. What allows you, like, how do you hold on to that? Like, what's allowed you to hold on to that?
To the drive.
Yeah.
My brother, our dream.
Because you guys started the
Together,
band, right?
and we're best friends, and we talk all day long. We text all day long,
Right.
and we're dreamers. And I want to be more than what people. I think when you grow up with a low self-esteem, a low self-worth, you never lose a little part of that, and you always have a chip on your shoulder to be more than what people think you can be. So I'm always building these businesses with the mind that we could scale them. And
Yes.
that they can be bigger than what anyone thinks, and that we could, and I think it's just the two of us. That's our dream. It's to keep climbing any mountain we can find. We're relentless.
Yes.
The two of us, though, I really feel like we're twins, so we were born together. We survived together, and I really do. And then our families, I want to impress my wife. I
Yeah.
want to impress her family.
Yes.
And I want to continue to build a place in the world and contribute something that's positive, that's meaningful. And that's why I love what you do. Everything you do, behind it is an undertone of positivity.
Yes.
And get back up, aim up,
Yeah.
try.
That's right.
And you're teaching people how to be disciplined.
Yes.
A lot of us didn't know how to do that. We didn't grow up in families where fitness was even a thing.
Right.
So
right.
it took me 2 decades to learn. I'm just getting my fitness down where I'm dedicated to it.
Nice.
It took me 2 decades.
Of course, man.
And
yeah.
eating, and you do that. You're teaching people a lot of things, but it's the idea that it's worthwhile to try,
Yes.
to be the best you can be,
Yes.
and you set your own limit, not anyone else. So I think you're a great example of someone who's bucked against every limit that's been put on them, whether it's been said or not.
Yes.
Right? Some things are said, some things are implied,
Yeah.
right?
Some people assume.
And
yeah.
you just go right through it.
Yes.
And that's the examples we need. And we live in a world where there's not a lot of those examples. It's a pretty negative place sometimes. And we look around and we find models that we can, especially guys.
Yeah.
Like, who do we look out to and see who's trying to be a dad? Who's trying to be in a relationship? At least they're trying, and they're putting their best foot forward.
That's right.
That's what we need.
That's right. By the way, it's in the power of trying, man, because that's how important it is, especially for our students. But also, there's so much fucking noise out there,
Yeah.
and it's negative, and it's judgmental, and it's all the shit that is very sludgy. But I always admire you, your brother, and everyone out there, male, female, who bucks at the system, who doesn't want to be pretzeled, who even if somebody's saying, no, you can only do it like this, and somebody goes, well, fuck that. I want to do it like this, and don't tell me what to do. This is what I feel. So I can appreciate that, and especially how noisy things are today and how easy it is for people to just jump on and judge. I always appreciate and admire the people who go, well, I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to fucking try. Like you said, like I'm going to give this thing a shot.
And then who can do it elegantly
Yeah.
and presidentially?
Yeah.
Like, who can stay buttoned up, not win and then chop everyone's head off?
That's right.
That's the thing, is you do it with elegance. You keep shit tight. That's what I look at when I look at how do I want to win? Who's a good winner? Who wins? Then we can all actually celebrate with them versus them, spike the ball in our face.
No, man.
And that's the thing that I love about how you move through the world, whether it's putting out products, movies, football leagues, back to wrestling, all the things. Who can beat every wall, who can continue to rise, and then do it elegantly and keep their shit tight and move through the world with some class. Because I think that's an old school thing that we've lost a lot of. Now people just make spectacles of everyone. And I look for the guys that I want to follow because they keep it tight. They move presidentially. They move with class. I look to those guys. You're one of the examples I always use.
Thank you, brother.
How do you move through the world? Win, lose, or draw, keep it together, keep it tight, move elegantly through the world. That's a skill that takes practice. and it takes real self-discipline, self-control, self-esteem. So I want to talk about Papouille.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that was like
Thank
one
you,
of
man.
the big reasons I wanted to talk to you. So before you go, I want to tell you I love Papouille. I'm now using 4 products in
Thank you, man.
I'm a big on skincare and like smelling good and all that stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like there isn't, especially with guys, like it's like no one talks about it. Girls talk about it all the time. They have all these options and products, and you usually end up using their wife's stuff.
Yeah.
And you put this out, and I use the tattoo stick.
Yes.
Big
Thank
time.
you, man. Yeah.
Much needed. Someone needed to make this for tattoos.
man.
I have it on right now. And then I use this all day.
Yes.
The eye
roller.
Yeah,
Yes.
the eye
It's got
gel.
a cooling gel in there. It's also got a cooling ball in there
It's like
too
my
as well.
Zen.
Dude,
This is I
feels nice
I have
and
it in
cool.
the car. I'll just be like, oh, Goose Fraba.
It'll zen you. It'll also bring down some puffiness you have. But dude, really quickly, you bring up about conversation. One of the reasons why I wanted to create Papouille was us as dudes, we could talk about our favorite cars, movies, booze, relationships, mental health, working out, cheat meals, all that shit. Every dude who's come up to me in the past, especially when it comes to skincare, they'll be like, hey, what do you do for your skin? I'm like, why the fuck are we whispering, man? Like, then it dawned on me. I'm like, wait a second. There's a white space out here, not only in the market, I think, for a product, but also an opportunity to encourage, like, let's be open about what we put on our skin. We get one body, one life, one skin. Let's take care of it. So I love that it's been encouraging this conversation with dudes, which is important because you were saying, like, I know I go to use my wife's stuff.
Yeah.
You do as well. We all do. So I wanted to make this line where it was the ingredients were great. I didn't know this. I became a student of the game. There's a lot of bad shit like parabens and sulfates and all that are in products that we normally love and use. I won't mention who they are.
Yeah, but you can straight up get cancer from using it. Like
Dude, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
So we removed all that shit from Papouille, clean, effective, and it was important, like you, because we never arrive. And if you've come from, I always say, if you're hungry, you'll never be full. So it was important to me just to keep everything under $10.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's
so everybody
one of the
can
reasons
afford
I
man.
love it, because everyone can get it.
Yes.
I hate telling people, hey, you should do this. And then it's like $50 or $60.
No, dude. Yes.
Any guy can go out and get it. And the face cream,
It's amazing, right?
That's my morning face lotion now.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Dude, so
It's a
have
hit.
confidence
And the
with
toner.
this stuff. The toner is the magic. That's the magic.
Yeah.
It's the secret weapon.
That's your secret weapon.
Dude, toner is the secret weapon.
Because your skin looks good.
Thank you, brother. Yours too. All right, I know we got to go, but thank you for this. But let me say, this aside, this has been a real pleasure, man. I really appreciate sitting with you and chopping this stuff up. And I don't, in my life, I don't have opportunities like this a lot where I'm talking about stuff with my old man, somebody who understands, and talking about success and the craziness of fame and all the stuff that we talked about. So I really appreciate this time. And
thank you.
I'm happy to do it again anytime.
Oh my, I would come back when we have more time. Thanks for coming all this way.
Of course, brother. Yeah.
I think, the important thing for people listening, it doesn't matter who you are, the human being that had to get from there to here had to go through a whole lot of shit. And you've proved that it's possible. If
it's anything that you want to do, give it a fucking shot and bet on yourself. Give it a shot, because even in the shot, in the effort of it, even if it doesn't shake out the way you want it to shake out, there's some magic that happens in the effort. And that you walk away, and if you don't get the thing that you wanted to get, it may lead you down another path where you go, oh shit, look at this thing. Maybe this is what my path is. First time I met Lionel Richie, I'm getting off the plane.
This, by the way.
He's getting on his plane. I'm getting off my plane, and I see him, and I'm walking. I'm like, oh fuck, that's Lionel Richie. Big fan, as we all are. The GOAT, give him some love. And I had just saw a documentary on him. And the end of the documentary, I repeated it back to him. He got some advice from George Burns.
Crazy.
And it so moved me because we're in the entertainment business. I know it's going to move you too. And he said, George, something to the effect of, George, like, what's the best advice you could give me? I need to get something from you because, you know, you're the OG. And George looked at him and said, stay booked, kid. Stay booked.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Simple
right?
as that.
It's simple as that because I feel like even though, you know, you may not be running and gunning 300 dates a year, I'm not wrestling 250 dates a year, but we're still looking to stay booked and doing that thing that keeps
We're
us
doing
grinding.
everything we possibly can.
That's right.
We're doing everything we can in the capacity we have to do it.
That's right.
And trying our best and keeping our feet moving. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
That's it, brother.
No days off unless it's with the family and, you know,
Yes.
you're spending that time. If I'm not working, I'm with my family.
That's right. Same thing. I got another story I'll tell you, man. So anyway,
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Thanks, man. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Artist Friendly. If you really liked it, you can follow, like, subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bad times, I